What if the very people you've been praying for, the ones living in nations far, far away, just moved in across the street? Well, that's the powerful, eye-opening idea behind the book Strangers Next Door. And honestly, it has the power to change everything about how we see our world and even our own neighborhoods. Just let that question sink in for a minute. The movement of millions of people all around the globe isn't just another headline on the news. It's a divine invitation. It feels like God is orchestrating this incredible, historic opportunity for us to join in His work, right where we are.
Now, to really grasp this invitation, we first need to get our heads around the sheer scale of what is happening right now. The author, J.D. Payne, he actually calls our time the age of migration.
And this isn't just some small shift, it's a massive, historic one. We're talking about millions of people crossing borders, and not just for a better job, but often for their very survival. They're fleeing war, famine, and persecution, all of them looking for the one thing we all want, a little bit of hope.
And hey, if you think this is just some distant global trend, get this. The United States alone receives about a fifth of all the world's migrants. 1/5. This means the nations aren't just coming. For so many of us, they're already here. They're our neighbors, our colleagues, and our classmates.
So what if we chose to see all this movement not through the lens of news headlines or political debates, but through a kingdom lens? What if we saw this not as global chaos, but as a divine strategy?
This right here is the paradigm shift at the very heart of the book. Instead of seeing migration as some big problem that needs to be solved, we're invited to see it as a sovereign opportunity. God is strategically bringing the unreached people of the world right within our reach.
I mean, really think about what this means. Your neighbor from Nepal, your coworker from Nigeria, the student from China in your local coffee shop, their presence in your life is not an accident. It's a divine appointment, a personal invitation from God into His global mission.
And you know, this is a pattern we see woven all throughout history, from Abraham being called to a new land, to Joseph ending up in Egypt, Daniel in Babylon, and even the early church being scattered by persecution. God has always used the movement of people to advance His plan of redemption.
So this huge global strategy doesn't just stay up in the clouds. No, it lands right on our doorstep, transforming our very own neighborhoods into maybe the most strategic mission fields on the entire planet.
I mean, just consider the incredible ripple effect of a simple welcome. The book shares this amazing story of a Korean couple, Samuel and Young Cho, who simply befriended a Nepalese waitress. That one friendship sparked a whole church plant in Baltimore. But it didn't stop there. The gospel rippled all the way back to Nepal and India, leading hundreds to faith, all from one conversation over a meal.
This really forces us to check our mindset, doesn't it? For so long, we thought of mission primarily as going over there. And we should absolutely keep doing that. But maybe we've missed the other half of the equation, welcoming the nations God has brought right here.
It's so easy to talk about numbers and trends, but we have to remember that behind every single statistic is a person. People like Joe, working tirelessly but feeling utterly alone. Or Fatima, a widow trying to navigate a whole new world. Or May, a student just overwhelmed by loneliness. They are all asking the same silent question: does anyone even care?
So how do we answer that question? How do we engage? Well, the book is crystal clear. It starts with love in action. It starts with the simple, powerful biblical practice of hospitality.
Wow, this is such a powerful quote, because the gospel itself is the story of God crossing the ultimate boundary to reach us. So a love that's truly shaped by the cross has to be a love that is willing to cross the street, to cross cultures, and to cross our own comfort zones.
And here's the good news. Hospitality isn't about having a perfect home or saying all the perfect words. It's simply about being available. A smile, a shared meal, a listening ear, these are the powerful tools that God uses to turn strangers into neighbors and ultimately into family.
Okay, so this brings us to the final and most important part. Because this isn't just an interesting idea to think about, it's a personal invitation from God to you to join Him in His mission of welcome. So where do you even begin? It starts simply, not with a big program, but with prayer. Just asking God to open your eyes to who is around you. Then you take one small, tangible step of hospitality. Offer coffee, share a meal. The goal isn't to share some rehearsed message, but to share your actual life. And as relationships grow, the beautiful result is discipleship that multiplies. And never, ever forget the incredible potential. Because of this multiplication effect, the refugee family you help,
or the international student you disciple, they might just become the next great missionary to a place you could never go. Your small act of local welcome can have an exponential global impact.
So we end where we began, with a question, but this time it's much more personal. Look around your life, your workplace, your neighborhood, your city. Who is the stranger God has placed right next door, inviting you to welcome them in?